Hello all. Just thought I would tell you that I made a decision on my own. I think that for the next week I'm going to try out this boot idea that I've come up with just because I think it'd be interesting and I think that maybe someone would actually take some information away with it when they go to buy shoes and they might be a little bit more prepared to know what to do when they're looking to buy something. So here's a few little tips and strategies for what the lingo is when it comes to work boots because mostly all I do is sell work boots and work shoes. So when it comes to like heels and pumps and tennis shoes and all that stuff, no, I don't really get into it. Yes, I know name brands, but if you take me to Dillard's, I can be like, oh, I love, Antonio Milani or I like Mia or something like that. But when it comes to work boots, it's harder to buy them than it would be to buy that because you're really buying a dress shoe because it's aesthetically pleasing. When it comes to a work boot, usually you're buying it because you need it to do a certain job. So here's a few um, hints and tips that I like to let everybody in on because that just might make your buying experience a little bit easier, a little bit more pleasurable, and you might walk out the door a little bit faster and you might be happier because you actually know what you're buying. So the first thing I really want to explain is the the use of waterproofing boots. Often I get the question of what is Gore-Tex? I've answered this so many times that I can't even think straight about how many times I have had to repeat myself. So just for the record, I'd like to tell everybody that Gore-Tex is a waterproof liner. It's a name brand. With that being said, there are lots of different brands out there that are waterproof liners. Gore-Tex just happens to be number one, or at least it seems to be number one. There's Sympatex, which is European, um, but I think that any of them are usually pretty good. The thing with Gore-Tex is you usually get a year against leaking and defects on the liner. So if it leaks, it comes out of your boot, you have that guarantee right there. All you have to do is keep your receipt. Whoever you buy it from, you just take it back to them, say, I know I have a year against this problem, whatever their policy is, they need to look into it. So if you buy Gore-Tex, it's a little bit more expensive. You can usually tack on like $50 to the boot, maybe a little bit more. It depends on who you're buying it from. But it's usually a better investment when it comes to warranty. Now, if you're not worried about warranty, the other waterproof liners are great because they have 6-month warranties, which is just as good in my opinion because some people can't get more than 6 months out of their boots anyways. So if it were me and you don't want to spend a lot more money, then you could buy something that has a generic waterproof liner in it and you get that 6-month guarantee with it. And a lot of times nowadays, some of the boot manufacturers will go a whole year when it just is their own waterproof liner. Red Wing does on a few of theirs. I know that sometimes other boot manufacturers do the same thing. I'm not for sure who else would at this point besides Red Wing. But it's their own, so they are definitely more than willing to back it up. So just so you know, Gore-Tex is a big name brand. There are other ones out there, and I personally think that if you're gonna get a boot, I would get waterproofing because if you're outside, if you're prone to being in mud puddles, if you're having to walk through some sort of creek or something, it will totally protect you, and you will be just the wiser for having it because you won't be going home with wet feet. Another thing is I like to talk about insoles because a lot of people don't understand what an insole is. A lot of people really don't understand that they're in every boot that you have. They're even in, tennis shoes. Um, I like insoles. I like the fact that a lot of the boots nowadays are made where they are replaceable insoles. So you just pop that baby out when it's ready to go. When you notice that your feet are starting to hurt, and you can take that out and you can go to a store and buy a new one. Now, you can sometimes, wherever the store is that you bought it from, you can buy the replacement insole that comes with it. Now, not all boot brands make replacement insoles for their boots. I'll give you an example. Timberland does not make a replacement insole for some of their boots. So what do? You're kind of sitting there, your feet hurt, your boot's not in bad shape, but you don't know what to do. So they make great insoles for um, for boots that just fit right in. You don't have to cut them down or anything. And there are a few names. Spinco is one of them. A lot of people do Dr. Scholl's. Um, there's also something called Thorogood. They have some great insoles. It just depends on what you want as far as an insole goes. I like Spinco the best. It's the best overall in my opinion because it spans so many different varieties of shoes. If you have an issue with an arch support, then they've got those. If you have an issue with the fact that your heel's hurt, they've got something like that will support your heel. They changed their packaging recently. Recently, the insoles were green. So if you had a green insole and you came in and I sold you a insole previously, I would have been like, oh, your insole's green and it's a Spinco. Now they're black and yellow. So it kind of reminds me of a Bumblebee. But either way, you're getting a great insole. You don't have to cut them down. They come size wise. So that's the fantabulous part of it all. You just take the one that you have in there out and you just slide that one in and you're good to go. Another thing I like to talk about when it comes to buying shoes is get the right fit. I understand that buying the fit is hard because not always do you know what size that you wear, and you don't always understand how to fit your own foot. And this is where it gets tricky because you really sometimes need somebody to fit you and get you that right shoe for whatever you're doing. So don't go off your tennis shoe size. If you go somewhere, make sure they can measure your foot. That way you can kind of get an idea of what you wear. A lot of times, let me give you a hint, a lot of times the shoe measurers that are still out there that are old as the hills, they do not measure width very well or very correctly. So if someone tells you you have a AAA foot and your foot is swallowed in that boot, then you know that you do not have a AAA foot. Um, Another myth I like to resolve usually is if you're buying a steel toe, please do not buy a size bigger than what you wear. The issue with a steel toe is you want to buy it because you have to have it, obviously, but you want to know that it's there, but you don't want to feel that it's there. I often tell people all the time, please do not buy one that's too big because what happens is once you get one that's bigger than your foot and it's sloppy, then the more you wear it, the sloppier it is going to get, and it's just a mess. I mean, you're going to fight your shoe all day long, your foot's going to slide around in there, and it's uncomfortable, and it just makes working even harder, and you have to wear the shoe all the time. So when you go to get a shoe, get a good fit. The people usually, if they've been doing it for a long enough time, they usually know what they're doing. Um, and you don't always have to go and be stuck with that same size that you wear that you think you know. Like you wear a 10.5 in another shoe, but if you decide that boy that 10.5 in that other boot is just really sloppy and it's really big, go down to a 10. It's no big deal. It's just a number. It's like jeans, you know. You can buy a pair of light color jeans and you can have them in a certain size, and then you go to another pair of dark colored jeans in the same brand and the same fit, and they do not fit the same. So it's the same with a boot. Just make sure that you get a good fit, that it's good and snug, because like I said, the more you wear it, the bigger it is going to get. And you definitely don't want something that feels like you've had it on your foot for a month, and then the longer you wear it, the worse it gets. Um, Another thing I like to talk to people about is if you are working in a specific field, make sure that you explain that to somebody. Make sure if someone says, what are you looking for? Tell them, I am a fill in the blank. I work at a factory. I am a tree climber. I, cut down limbs for a living. I also I am a lineman, or I work on the railroad, or, you can just think of anything. All of these jobs have different and specific uses for boots. Boots are your tool, so you want to get a boot that is going to suit that. So if you work outside in uneven terrain, or you have to climb a tree, you have to climb a pole, you know that you want something that's got a really good, hard duty, firm sole on the bottom of it. And if you work in a factory, or you work on concrete, a lot of us retail people, we work on usually it's either carpet with concrete underneath it, or it is concrete and you've got mats. So you're staying on this all day long, and you know that if you had something hard on the bottom of your foot, your feet are going to be killing you after 2 hours. So you want to get something that's got a soft sole that will, support you, that will be spongy enough that will take away from that hardness of that concrete. What I like right now is they've got something out called dual density, and what that means is you've got a layer of cushion in the sole, you've got a built-in cushion, you have a removable cushion. So you are sitting on 3 layers of cushion. If you were to buy that and go outside and climb a tree, it would not last very long because that sole is made for being inside, indoors, and it will just have way too much give, and you just won't be able to wear it that long. So you're not going to get a lot of life out of that boot. Um, Another factor that I run into is that people want comfort, but they don't always know um, why they want the boot that looks like it's a 4x4, that looks like I say, power doors, power locks, power windows. It's souped up. They want that boot that it looks like rugged and manly. Forget about that. It doesn't matter. If you are on concrete, I would forget about that. Get something that looks nice. Get something that is comfortable to you. Forget about what the other ones look like. You do not want to get something that's super rugged that will kill your feet at the end of the day, and that you'll be hobbling around in for the next 6 months, and or either you'll keep it and you'll put it in the closet, you'll never see it again. You want to get a good pair of boots that you can get the life out of. Okay, so I'm done rambling on this. This is my first part of my um basically my strategy for buying a good pair of boots, and some tips, and understanding what there is out there. And I also have more to share. I'm just do not know how long I can record a video for on YouTube. We might be able to record one for more than 11 minutes like I have here. But if you have any questions, if you want to know anything else about what I've talked about, I'll be more than willing to answer any question that you've got. And tomorrow I will come back with a list of more stuff that more terms, more strategies, more knowledge about what I know, and then maybe that'll help or empower you in order to buy boots. And then later on, I will probably be reviewing boots that I like, that I don't like, and that are new. And then you can see what I look at, what I deal with on a daily basis. So good night, all.